What is happening, you guys? Welcome back to the Let's Go Win podcast, where we are here to help you be happy, healthy, wealthy, and get better every single day. The young lady I'm going to bring on is awesome. I was on her show. She brings so much knowledge and energy. You guys are going to absolutely love this interview. Lady Jen Du Plessis, the impact mentor and scaling architect, is a financial industry veteran with over 40 years of experience. She helps high achievers break the six-figure barrier and reach seven-figure success. With best-selling books, top podcasts, and a TV show, she inspires millions monthly. Jen advocates for moving beyond working in and on your business to living above and beyond it. Well, I'm blessed to have you on the show. I know we had some challenges getting this thing put together, but thanks for waking up early and dealing with all the internet nonsense and whatnot. How you doing this morning?
I'm great. I'm doing great. And you know what? This is the day that it was meant to be. So it's okay.
Well, I know you're out in Chicago and you're doing some cool stuff.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the lady Jen Du Plessis, obviously there's a little bit of a story behind this. What is the lady? I know you're a lady, of course. You're a phenomenal woman. But what
Oh, thank
does the
you.
lady stand for? What's that all about?
Yeah, well, there's 200, well, maybe 290 of us in the United States that are knighted under the Royal House of Cappadocia and are part of the Royal Order of Constantine the Great and St. Helen. And so this is the oldest royal order in the world. We were established in 370 after Constantine took over Rome. And so all those that had helped him take over Rome and genocide and all that good stuff way back were knighted into, I don't want to say the Knights of the Round Table, but they were knighted into chivalry, hope, defending everything. And, we're just descendants of that now. It's the coolest thing. And so the prince was here and we have a duke and duchess and barons and baronesses and ladies and dames. And and a couple marquises were here this time. But our organization focuses on helping women and children who are homeless and girls that are trafficked all around the world. And among other things, we gave to a choir last night. We gave to a children's foundation last night. There's just a lot of things that our organization does. And so it was just an extension of what I already do with my philanthropy and charity work, in addition to entrepreneurship. It's just an extension of that, and to be honored, to be chosen a couple of years ago, it's pretty cool. And yes, it's very formal, it's very legal to the point that my passport now says this. So it's really cool. I just love the wonderful people that I'm part of, and it's a family, and it's for life.
Well, it's cool. And again, pardon my naivety, but I just don't know this side that well. So this is
Yeah.
not a bloodline thing. This is like because of this amazing work that you've done as an entrepreneur, some of the philanthropy work that you were literally chosen amongst, I think
Mhm.
you said 200 and some, to be a part of this organization.
Yeah, it's not a bloodline, but let's just think about Sir Elton John. Remember when he got knighted under the House of Windsor? It's the same thing.
Got
Knighted
it.
under the House of Cappadocia. Yeah, same
So
thing. There's
cool because
all
we
kinds
don't,
of houses. Yeah, we
yeah,
don't
we
hear
don't
about it
have
in
it
the
here a
US.
lot, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we have, I mean, there's lots of knights and dames that are, knighted under different, houses of Monaco, or Morocco. There's just all kinds of, that are around here. And yeah, it's funny because when I'm networking, people are like, oh, are you like Queen Latifah or Lady Gaga? And I'm like, no, it's not. Right? It's not that. There actually is a lineage. We have dual citizenship in a couple of countries, and we do own some property. So it's really cool. Yeah.
No, it's really very cool. Well, you have a lot going on. I mean, best-selling author, you have the podcast, TV show, you've built and sold businesses. I guess what I want to go with is what has allowed you such success through your life? What if you were to say this one thing, this is why I think I've succeeded in
Yeah.
business. What was that for you, Jen, that really was that key
Mm.
ingredient?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to say one word, but I want to use two, and that's persistence and resilience. I was born into a very large family. There's 36 first cousins, and my nickname was Jenny who ain't got a penny. And I didn't understand it at first. I always carried a penny around in my shoe. It was ha ha, I have a penny. Uh, you know, but later I understood that because my dad was an alcoholic, because my mom was a verbal abuser, we were the poorest of all the families in the family. There were 10 families. And that I started saying, well, wait a minute, I'm going to prove to you that I can succeed. And so I set out on an entire life of proving, exceeding in every single thing I did as a child, as a teenager, as a young adult, and as an adult, until the day I said, I'm done proving. I've proved to myself, and now I'm going to live. So there was a switch that happened, but I think now that's just part of my DNA. Uh, but I think that you learn, you earn, and then you return, right, in your life. And I learned, I earned, right? And I continue to earn, but I'm really stepping into a lot of the returning and giving back and impacting and creating significance. So resilience and whatever other word I said just a few minutes ago that popped in my head, persistence is, I think, the key to what has made me successful in everything that I've done. I don't give up. I give 3,000% to everything.
Yeah, it is interesting how often we are shaped by these things that happen in our childhood, and some good, some bad. Obviously, this was
Hmm.
one of those Jenny without a penny. That's such a negative connotation being put upon you, and yet you said, "All right, screw you guys. I will
Yep.
show you that you are not going to define me."
Yeah.
I guess my question or my thought is, once you decided, all right, I've done enough, I've proven. Now, I think you said I really want to go on living. I think you talked about being
Instead
above
of
and
proving.
beyond it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. In
It,
business.
it did you just the fulfillment factor? I guess is what I'm asking, because I too am wired where you tell me I can't do something, bullshit. I will prove you wrong.
Right.
However, that only goes so far to where you're like, well, I'm not actually doing it for me. Talk about that switch for
Uh,
you, Jen, and what that looked like
yeah.
in your personal life, fulfillment wise.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple things. It's funny that you said, don't tell me I can, don't tell me I can, and I'm going to prove to you. So, my television show is called Tell Me I Can't. And so is one of my books, Tell Me I Can't. And the reason it's not, don't tell me I can, because for me, that was, don't you tell me I can't. Because now I'm going to have to go prove again. And I'm in this living space, in this living world now, right? So it's, go ahead, tell me. Tell me I can, and watch what I do. Right. So there's a slight shift in the connotation for it for me now, so that it's not, okay, I'm doing it for everybody else. It's like, I got this and I'm on my way. So, and it's like a crow or an eagle. I don't know if you know the story about the eagle, but a lot of crows sit on eagles' bodies, and because they get tired and they don't want to fly, and the eagle's flying. And so what the eagle does is it flies higher and higher and higher until the crow passes out from the height and falls off the eagle. Right. So when they say, to soar higher, to soar above, that's what I do. That's what's really key for me. But the moment for me was when I was at dinner, and we're all entrepreneurs, right? And dinner in quotations if you're not watching us, right? We're going to dinner with our family. We're looking at our phone, we're still, and I had a client call me, and I said, oh, they need me. I got to take this call. And off I went, right outside, and I was walking back and forth on what I call the concrete balance beam. And we all know what that is. We're walking and talking back and forth, kicking things, finding pennies. And I was even opening the door for people, to the restaurant. Like, look at me. Oh, yeah, I'm on the phone, and their food's good, all that stuff. And I wasn't getting paid for that. And I'm walking back and forth, and I'm not serving myself. I'm not serving my client. I'm certainly not serving my family. And I happened to look over into the window of the restaurant, and I saw my family laughing, creating all these beautiful memories, spending time together. And it was like being on a train and watching your life go by. And in that moment, I thought, I'm not in any of this. I'm not participating in any of this. And I'm done. I am done. This has got to change. I'm tired of working in and on my business day after day after day, all these hours, all this energy, laden with excuses why I was going to have a cold dinner because I had to do that one more phone call or I had to go to that meeting. Why I missed recitals and baseball games and things like that. Or even if I was there, I wasn't present, right? Because I'm still looking, talking. These are the days when we had, flip phones. And, and that was the switch for me. And I said, there's got to be a way for me to work above and beyond my business that I don't have to be in the minutia of it. And I had the skills, I just wasn't applying them. And now what I do is help people recognize that they need the skills so that they can rise above and beyond.
So what's fascinating, because I've experienced this myself, exactly what I can picture myself outside of the exact same restaurant that you're walking through, that you're walking
Yeah.
around, and oh, I'm so important. I have to take this call. What's
Right.
fascinating, Jen, is how much more we get done, quote unquote. How much more, I don't know, achieve. I don't know the right word. We are far more productive when with
Yes.
our family.
Efficient.
We actually,
Yeah.
when we're present, we're far
Mm-hmm.
more productive with our client when we're fully present. We're far
Mm-hmm.
more, all the things, if we actually just stop and be in that present moment, give it 100% at that moment and
Yeah.
stop the multitask. I actually talk about it in my first book. I don't believe in
Yeah.
multitasking. I don't
I
believe
don't
it's a
either.
thing.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know. That's
so from
balance
that
too,
moment
by the
on,
way.
what's that? I'm sorry.
That's balance, by the way, too, because people are always trying to balance things. I think that, if you look at a scale and it's 50-50 and it's balanced, then you're only 50% here and 50% here. And so what we're trying to, when we say balance, what we're trying to achieve is 100%. And this is why it doesn't work, because balance isn't 100%. It's 50-50. And so if we can realize, to be present 100%, then we can integrate, if you want to say integration. And I don't even know that I believe in integration because it's still 50-50. It's a little of this, a little of that. And so I'm with you. I don't like multitasking. It takes too much time and effort.
So I guess my question would be, because we consider, and I coach my clients on the same thing. Let's be present,
Yeah,
stay in the
yeah,
present moment. What are
yeah.
some of the tools and tricks and things that you've done? Like, for instance, we don't allow cell phones at dinner. It's just not something that our
Hmm.
family does.
Yeah,
For some families, that seems impractical, but I will say it's one of these. It's a great modern device, and at the same time, it's taking away so much of what we
yeah,
used to not have this as a challenge. What are some of the things you've done to
yeah.
really make sure that you do stay present and you don't go right back into the, well, gosh, this is that call I just got to take? How do you keep
Right.
from doing it?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because, my kids are grown now. They're 37 and 36. So we don't have like the cell phone issue in the family. My husband and I worked together for 17 years. So we've now developed, the phones just sometimes we forget them and we have to go back to our house and get them. I mean, that's how much they are inconsequential. First of all, my phone is not on. My phone is always on silent. So if you call me, it's automatically going to go to voicemail because I have it I'm focused on taking a call when I'm not focused on something else, right? And that's very rare. So it'll always go to voicemail and I'll get back to people. But I think there's a couple things. Let's talk about the table. Let's talk about the table real quick. So we do something with our family called High Low Buffalo. And so every night, what was your high today? What was your low today? And what was the buffalo? And the buffalo is like the unexpected. And it could be good or bad, but the unexpected. And because we're engaging at the table, everyone doesn't need their phone because we're having an engaging conversation. We're learning what impressed people, during the day. And so even when my grandkids are with me, we all do high, low, buffalo. And it's great to get to, how was school? Fine. Oh, did you have fun? Yes. Right. So the high low buffalo takes us to a whole other way that we can be really, really present. But in business, people talk about time management all the time and the balance. And for me, it's priority management. So you have a laundry list. There's a reason it's called a laundry list. It looks like a laundry basket of clothes. It's a mishmash, right? And so you have this laundry list of things to do. So if you can pull them out and compartmentalize them, so that you're doing equal activities at the same time. And when you talk about task switching, I'm sure that you speak about this as well. Is that if I'm having, so I have four businesses. One is speaking, podcasting, coaching, mentoring, masterminds, etc. The other two, I have one that is, I have a private lending company, I have an Airbnb company, and I have real estate. If I'm having a conversation and negotiating, a $2 or $3 million multifamily home, or even $100,000 single family, my mindset is in one place, and I can't shift that for my next call to be helping my client who might be crying on the phone, might be crying or having a bad day. That shift takes so much energy from us as leaders. And for those of you that are listening that are leaders, that's task shifting, even though it's not what we think is task shifting of, I'll write a thank you note and then let's type an email. So if you can compartmentalize your thinking and your tasks at the same time, you're going to be more efficient. And again, it's like doing laundry. You'd never take one sock out of a dryer and run it up to the room and into the closet or into the drawer and then run back down and then get a towel and run it there. It's inefficient, but we do that all day long. And so what we do is we stack all the socks and the shirts and the towels and all those, and then we take them one place at one time. So if we can shift our mindset to think in those terms of compartmentalizing our activities, logging on once to the place we need to go to do all of our expenses or whatever the case may be, and then prioritizing them, what it really needs to get done today that moves the needle, not that has to get done because I have a pile of expenses. No, what needs to get done first to move the needle in my business? And the rest is all just easy from there.
Yeah, I call it the core three, and it's exactly what you're talking about in terms of what actually moves the needle. I have
Mm-hmm.
the task list, right? I have my notebook, the task list, and then I have my core three. This may or
Yeah.
may not get done. The task list may or may not get done every single day. But the core
Yeah.
three, that 100% will get done. It's funny. You
Yeah.
and I both do the phone on silent thing, and I don't really think of it
Yeah.
as like a hack, but I'm
I don't either.
100% the same way. It's rare that I actually pick up a phone call, and it's not because I'm a texter. I actually dislike texting. I am a voice texter. Um, but it is one of those easy life hacks where it's like, I'm just going to do this. What other hacks do you have? Because
Yeah.
I'm hearing you say when it comes to, like, I'm guessing if you're going to do an email, that's what you're going to do. And then if I'm going to work on a presentation, that's what I'm going to do. You don't have them going in between and mixing with one another, which most of the world does. And it's as you said, it's so inefficient. That's like taking the clothes that you just folded to the drawer
Yeah.
and then coming back. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's so funny that we can understand that in this laundry scenario. And it's the same with groceries. I mean, can you imagine just taking a can of beans out of your car and running it into the house and then going back? I mean, it's great if you want to lose weight, but if you want to get your steps in. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a couple things there, is, the core, like your core three, that's fine. I may only have one today, one thing that I want to accomplish today. The key is that the list that you showed, with on your paper, that list is not a laundry list. That's the key, is that it's compartmentalized so that when you have the time to get to it, or when you time block in those activities, that they're all equal activities. It's so much faster to type 10 emails that are going to say the same thing, and hopefully you have a signature for that and you don't have to do that. But okay, next email, next email, next email. Now let me do phone calls. Now let me do texting if that's what I'm doing. Now let me work in my presentation. Okay, so one of the hacks that I have, and I know it's hard, and I was talking to someone about this last night, ironically, and she owns all of the the Chicago chicken shacks in Chicago. She created it. It's her baby. She's a franchisor, or I never remember which way it is. She's a franchisor, and she also has 6 edible fruit baskets.
Mm-hmm.
She has 6 of those as well. And she's like, I just feel like I'm pulled from pillar to post, etc. So with me, with my four businesses, so if we imagine me back at the restaurant, at the time I was closing, I was in the mortgage business for 40 years, financial services. I was closing $50 million in loans, and I was a year, and I was in the top 1%. And all I wanted was a way to do $50 million and work 4 days a week. That was my goal. How can I do this? To my surprise, the result was that I did 102 million in 4 days a week. That wasn't my plan. Right? My plan was just give me 50, and I, elevated up to the top 200 people in the United States in mortgage lending. And for me, what was most important in being able to, I just lost my train of thought. What was most important to me? Oh, I know. To me was not only compartmentalizing my day, but my entire day was dedicated to a different piece of my work. So I would do only my videos and, anything that had to do with marketing on one day. I would only do annual reviews with my clients on another day. I would only meet with my partners on another day. And another day I would do my speaking, right? I would speak everywhere, teach classes, whatever, hold my own events, whatever the case may be. I move that into my practice today. However, it's a little bit different. One day a week, I work on my speaking, coaching. My lead generation for speaking. I'll put it that way, right? I'm doing podcasts. I'm doing things like that. Day two, that's my coaching day. I only coach on those days unless I make an exception, and I can do that, but I only coach on those days. On the third day, I work on my real estate. My husband and I have a little over $30 million in real estate. We have a lot of decisions we have people who do it, we're above and beyond, but we have a lot of decisions that have to be made. And that day is dedicated to that day. And the last day is dedicated to my private financing day, which now my daughter runs that business. So I'm above that, but she has, hey, can we lend to this person? Can we give them money for their investment? That kind of thing. But I now have each day as a specific business. If you don't have four business, each day needs to be to a segment of your business. And that has been one of the biggest hacks I have, because the entire day is dedicated to that. What's funny? I didn't expect this either. Because I'm so into that business that day, ideas are boop, 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 popping up all the time. Ideas. When you're doing all this other stuff, the ideas don't come clear, or that's how I'm going to solve that problem, because I'm so ingrained in that business that day.
Yeah, when you're talking, I hear flow. Ultimately, when
Mhm.
you put so much focus and attention on just this one thing, just think about we have 100%. Let's just say that's what we have. You're giving 100% to that one day. And what I also hope people heard is she took a day away and she doubled her production. So her goal was 50 million in 4 days. She did 102 million in 4 days because of this idea. It is really interesting because it's something that I think would scare people to say, wait a minute, I'm going to grow like less is more. And the fact is
Right.
100%. Talk to me about this idea, because you said I'm above and beyond, or I understand the idea where you're not necessarily in the business, you're advising to it, you're leading in it. How did that look for you as you made that transition from really being in it, doing the sales, working on, to saying, this is my business, but I'm going to operate, because it gives you a different lens than when you're in the trenches every single day. What did that look like for you? Because 40 years, you said, you put it in, man. You were doing the loans and all that. And then, wow, you have four businesses going on. And how do you do that? You have the same 24 hours I do. How is Jen
Yeah.
doing this?
Yeah. It's a really good question, because, again, back to the restaurant. um, I've always followed Les Brown, and I was fortunate to be on his speaking faculty. I traveled with him and was on his, spoke with him. He has, numerous quotes. Okay. But this quote was always the thing for me, because again, I was in the proving mode. If you do what's easy, your life is going to be hard. If you do what's hard, your life will be easy. Okay. And so when I heard that, and I'm going to tell you what I learned from it, but when I heard that is, yeah, work hard, prove, work, 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 work. Because if I work hard, it's going to be easy. What I learned is it's not working hard. It's doing the hard work. And that was one of the things, because it took me about 4 or 5 years to kind of figure out this, how do I work 4 days a week? I've got to figure this out. And I was in management, right? I already knew how to delegate. And I thought, what the French toast? Why do I feel like I have to do it all? And this is what entrepreneurs do, is they feel like they have to do it all. They can't afford a team member. No, you can't afford not to have a team member. Day one, you need to find a team member. It's that piece of it. So I realized, oh, I have to dig in and do the hard work. So I had to start saying, well, what, shift this, do this. What is one of the things I like doing? What are the things I don't like doing? How do I make this work? And boy, I'll tell you, it was a lot of trial and error, for a good 8-12 years. And I realized that a lot of speakers at the time were saying, don't work in your business, work on your business, right? And everybody would say on your business. And I thought, well, we're this oscillation between working in and on, in and on, in and on. I heard people saying, I can't get away from my office because I'm always dragged back in. And I thought, why? So I really focused on the on. We all get the in. Work, 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 right? The on, though, isn't just making a business plan, isn't just reading a book because I'm working on me and on the business plan, right? Or going to a conference. I realized that this is where the rubber hits the road for management and for leadership. Because when you're starting to work on your business, you're starting to hire those people. And so many people lack management and leadership skills because they're a great widget maker, but they were never a manager. So now when they have their own business, they're still a widget maker. They're working even more hours and they're making less money. And I realized, there's the problem right there. It's a lack of understanding how to manage people, how to hire people. And we've all heard it. We've all said it. Oh, I hired them and they were terrible. They probably weren't. We were terrible. We weren't ready. We didn't onboard them correctly. We had the interview that goes like this. Hey, you're great. Let's bring you on, and don't worry, we'll find a spot for you. Right? And that doesn't work. And so I really focused a lot of my attention on the on for myself, but I would encourage those that are listening, the on is where you're starting to build your skills while you're building your business. And you have to take a leap of faith. And the leap is leadership skills, expanding your team, amplifying your influence so you can not only bring in more business, but more people, right? That they want to work with you because you're building a world-class team. You're not building a team, you're building a world-class team. And the P is to boost your profits. So once you take that leap of faith, and that's one of the programs I have, is like helping people understand, oh yeah, I've been in and on the wrong way. And they go to that leap and we go to above. Now the above allows you to still be the heart of your company, but you tether yourself away and you work in your genius. And your people are empowered and they sound like you. It's like going into Starbucks. All of them sound the same. It's like going into a Walmart. They all sound the same. And your voice is now there. Your values are there. And it's important that you educate and transcend that onto your team. Is what are our values? What is our voice? What are the things that are most important to me, instead of keeping it to yourself, or worse yet is not even, do you know your values? Do you know your vision? Is your vision so small that no one wants to be on your team because, like, well, I won't go anywhere with that person? Your vision has to be so large that it includes everyone else's vision behind you so they can get on board and be loyal, great, world-class team members. And so the difference between on and above is enabling your team, because you don't have systems, you don't know how to manage. And so every decision they make has to be through you, which is why you can't tether yourself away. When you go to above, you start empowering people. They make the decisions. You set whatever. Hey, don't call me if it's over 500, unless it's over $500, right? Those types of things. And that allows you to go beyond. And some people, their beyond is, I don't know, it's having another business like me. It's sleeping in, it's traveling, right? It's your beyond. It's your definition of success, not mine.
Yeah. No, it's funny. As you're talking, I'm wishing, gosh, I wish my 26 or 25 or 24-year-old self had heard this, right? Because I've
Me
gone through a
too.
very, yeah, I
Me
know, isn't it so
too.
true?
Me
Our
too.
hardwires are, look, through hard work and determination, blood, sweat, and tears, I'm going to build this business. Now, there is there absolutely that is a piece of building any business. And if anybody says they didn't put in the hard work, it's just not true.
Right.
However, that is also not only going to get you so far. And whether
Yeah.
we call it, I don't know, manifestation, we call it surrounding ourselves with people that have accomplished, like you talked about Les Brown. What a great
Yeah.
example of somebody that makes
Yeah.
you think differently to say,
Yeah.
oh, hard work is great, but guess what? There's so much more. There is living your life by your intention, intentionally living your dream life. I think so often we just get, all right, I'm going to go, I'll speak for myself. No matter what, I was going to make $1 million a year. That's what I was going to do. And damn it, I did it. At
Yeah.
27, I was like, I'm going to do this. And I did it, but at what cost? And I don't know if you
Yes.
went through it,
Yeah.
Jen, but for me,
Yeah.
oh my God, the cost was significant, like almost losing my family, being
Yeah.
almost 300 pounds at some point, and it wasn't
Oh,
fulfilling.
yeah.
Did you kind of go through that as well? Did you go? I know you talked about the dinner thing, but did you have to sacrifice and almost lose your family like me?
Yeah. Well, I was fortunate. My husband and I are celebrating our 41st wedding anniversary in a couple weeks. We're high
Mm,
school sweethearts, but I was fortunate enough that, he's such a strong man behind me. And, again, we worked together for the longest time. And so it's a good yin yang and, balance, I should say balance. But, it was such I just I felt guilty. I mean, every time I turned around, I was guilty. I was guilty that I wasn't working hard enough to prove, to tell, hoping that a family member would say, good job, Jenny, you've done it. And no one did, by the way, ever, ever to this day. And and that's when I had to make that decision. But he's just so supportive, and it's just, I'm telling you, I juggled for probably 25 years. I was just juggling. I have a couple phrases I want to say to you, because you said quite a few things that I use phraseology for, in doing this. So the first is, create a work life that makes life work.
mm,
Okay. We focus so much on our business. And then, so think of a tire or wheel, right? The wheel is strong, it's steel. We work on our business, work on our business. And then the tire has holes in it, shreds, divorce, this, that, and the other. It has all that in it. And alcoholism and weight gain, it's all of that, right? So we have to create a work life that makes life work. The other thing is, to live our legacy while we're building it. Why would you build it and then go, okay, I'm done building it, so now I can live it, and then boom, you die, right? So I live my legacy. That's why I still work 4 days a week. It's a little different looking now, but I only work half of every day. But it's not like 8 to 12 or 12 to 5. It's just, I only work 4 to 5 hours a day, and then I move on. But I think that, is super important for you to be able to do that. And you said something about your weight. Um, People, this is, and I've heard this before, but I'm just going to share it, is we spend, or we sacrifice our health to create wealth.
mm.
And then later we spend that wealth to maintain our health, because it doesn't happen overnight. It's built up. And so now you have the money, but you can't walk because you sat in a chair too long. Now you have the money, but now you have varicose veins because you sat in the chair. Now you have the money, but your neck is all wackadoo because you sat in the chair, you know? And so you're going to the chiropractor and you're getting surgery, and then you're not able to live that life because you're stuck, in a hospital bed or in recovery. And I realized it young enough, but boy, do I have some things. I used to cross my legs and talk on the phone like this, and I pay for it in my neck every day. I pay for it in my lower back every single day. But now I have the time to dedicate to taking care of myself
Yeah,
and still be
your health is your
successful.
wealth. at the end of the
Yeah,
day, right? It's one of
absolutely.
the sad stories, and I always talk about Steve Jobs in this one, where
Yeah,
I remember when he was on his deathbed with $7 or $8 billion in the bank, he's like, "I'll give all of it away right now for my
to
health,"
live.
and
Yeah.
unfortunately, obviously, that wasn't a possibility. Um, you talked about values earlier, and one of the questions or three questions I like to ask is around because happy, healthy, wealthy are the three core values of Let's Go Win. So I'm going to throw a couple questions at you, and I'm just curious. I didn't tell you this off air, so sorry.
That's
I'm going
okay.
to hit
That's
you with it.
okay. Yeah.
So, what makes you most happy? 41 years of marriage. Congratulations, by the way. That's amazing. I'm sure that's incredible. I love that because you don't get to hear that all the time. But what really makes you happy and really fuels your fire?
Um, yeah, I mean, and I'm going to give you two answers because in business, I love seeing my coaching students, my clients succeed. I love them. I love seeing them make that leap that, oh my God, I have a life back. I have my business and my life. I love seeing that in them. And because I'm an empath, I often will, get off the phone and start crying and go, they did it. I can't believe they did it, honey. They did it. It feels so good. I mean, that just gives me so much joy. So on the business side, that. On the personal side, it's all my family, my family, my family, my family. And I had to make sure that they were most important. And so now, at a drop of anything, I can go see my family. A sans being under contract to speak someplace, right? I can say, you know what, I'm not going to that event. I'd love to go, but my family needs me. And a drop of a hat, I can do it. If I wake up in the morning, I look and I go, hey, I really don't have anything going on today. I'm going to drive up to Pennsylvania. I live in Virginia. I'm going to drive up to Pennsylvania and see my three of my grandkids, or I'll call my daughter and say, what are you doing today? Can I have the baby today? Right? Can I come and play with the baby? So family, family, family. My husband and I, we own part of a vineyard. So we love going up and sampling all the wines and, looking at the barrels and all that. We love boating. Our boat's called That's What She Said. And we we love boating. We love traveling. You and I just got back from Paris. I mean, we fly to Paris quite frequently because we're on the East Coast. We can. It's just it's easier than going to California, and it's cheaper. Um, but yeah, I mean, for me, it's family, family, family. I want to create memories. My mom said something. She said, honey, in 100 years, it won't matter that your house is dusty. Now, my house is not dusty because I'm German. It's clean. But she said, it won't matter because I would say, clean your room, yelling and screaming at my kids. And she said, in 100 years, it won't matter. Now, this is the verbal abuser telling me this, right? She learned the lesson.
Mm.
Um, and I thought, gosh, in 100 years, it won't matter. You're right. But in 100 years, it will matter what I did with my family and for my family to create I wouldn't say a dynasty or a legacy, although we've done that. It's more that I've made an impact and I'm significant in the world that my kids could look back through. Hopefully Google will be around again, forever. And they'll be able to Google me and say, my grandma, my great grandma did this, you know, and change the world. And that's what's important to me.
No, I love it, and it's true. Look, the dishes they'll get done, but I'll
Yeah.
tell you what, being with the family when they're there,
Oh,
and my
yeah.
son is just
Yeah.
about to go off to college, so I'm really feeling this. Where I'm like, don't need to do the dishes. What I need to do is be with him 100%. Give
Yeah.
everything I have, soak everything up
Absolutely.
before he goes. We talked about health and how important it is. What's the best piece of health advice you've ever received?
That I've ever received or I
Hmm.
want to give.
Either way, I'm good with either of them.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm vegetarian. That's the first thing. And it's not because I'm afraid of animals. My dad was a hunter. My brother's an NRA instructor. It's not about that. It's just that my body has changed, and it's just more important for me to, eat really, really healthy. My husband is a type 2 diabetic. He's had 3 heart attacks. And so we made a shift years ago and we just feel so much better. And we'll occasionally I'll eat some fish. He won't even eat fish. But, I think eating healthy, is one thing. Staying active is really big. I'm a competitive ballroom Latin and swing dancer, which, by the way, this is why I only work a couple days or a couple hours a day because I want to go to the studio for 3 hours and dance. And by the way, that gives me joy too, because you can't think of anything else except 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? There's nothing else you can think of, period, end of story. And you can walk in with an attitude and mad at something and stressed out, and you just leave la 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 la. Yeah, so I think that that's one thing, is eating right. The other is staying active. That's really important for me. And I would just say, just these little things. Like I have a vibration plate. If you've never seen them, they're on Amazon. You stand on it, and it blah, 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 and it circulates, right? It helps you circulate your body. So even in between meetings, I just step on it for 5 minutes, and I go blah, 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 let it shake me up, right? And then my energy is different, and I'm ready for that next meeting. I hula hoop, believe it or not. I hula hoop with magnetic things. I just stand around and hula hoop while I'm thinking. It's just funny. But I think it's these. If you're not someone that's like, yeah, I can't get to. Look, I live 25 miles from the nearest grocery store. I don't go to the gym because I'm not going for just a half a second, right? So I have to come up with these creative ways to keep my body moving and keep going. And all of that affects your psyche and your mindset, and it keeps you in that positive mode so you can serve your clients, so you can serve your family and yourself.
Yeah, the plate I've never actually talked about on the show. It's a great biohack for your nervous system. And
Oh,
I
it's
know a lot of people
beautiful.
actually do their meditation with the red light therapy while doing that, and it's
Oh my gosh.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It really is cool. Yeah.
For someone you've clearly done well financially through persistence and all the things that we talked about. When I say the word wealthy, what does that mean to you?
Uh, um, it to me, it's inner. That's the first thing that I think is, it's gratitude. I think that's mostly what it is for me. I was fortunate enough that my family, something that a lot of people don't know is I was actually, I'm blood royal as well. And so my family is very wealthy, but it's that they work really hard. It's not just because of wealth. Everybody has a business. I learned real estate investing from two of my uncles. One of them just passed. The one who called me Jenny, who ain't got a penny, passed away in January at 90, and it's a dramatic loss in my life because I mean, this man. I thanked him for calling me that because I could have ended up just like my mom and dad, right? And I thanked him for doing that for me. But one of the things I realized when he passed away, um, we found out he had $52 million. No kids, never married. There's 36 grandkids. Every one of us was left with $1 million, and the
Amazing.
balance went to the church because we're very strong, Catholic. Balance of it went to the church. But it's so funny. This is such a funny story. I saw him in, how white tennis shoes are in now, but white tennis shoes used to be for old people down in Florida, right? Old guys with socks and stuff. So I came over to his house and I said, "Hey, Uncle Darcy," I said, you're happening. You're 89 years old and you got white tennis shoes. You're styling, right?" And he goes, "You like them?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I was over at the apartments and I was cleaning out one of the apartments. They do a lot of student rentals and stuff in Central Michigan University in Michigan." And he said, "I was cleaning out one of the rentals and I saw these white shoes." And he said, "I put them on and I left them on. They're called leave-ons. You like them? They're leave-ons." Right? I just left it on. And I said, "Uncle Darsh, you can afford shoes." He goes, "But I found perfectly good shoes."
Hmm.
And so and that was fairly recent. But I've seen that and heard that all my life. True wealth is here.
Hmm.
And it's a gratitude. It's not the external wealth, it's the internal wealth. So that's what I think about wealth is gratitude. I mean, my core values are faith, family, and stability. Stability of time and stability of money. Hmm? That's
No,
for my
I love it.
person.
The
Yeah.
answer is that's why I love to ask the question because it's always deeper than just money. It always is. To those that have
Mm.
really succeeded. Jen, I
Money's
can't
just
believe
a
I'm looking down.
conduit.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. Time is
Yeah.
flying by. Is there something I didn't know enough to ask you that you want to make sure to leave the audience before we wrap up?
No, there isn't. There isn't at all. I just, I love serving people. I love helping people, make that leap and really get into that next level. And really, my mentorship is focused on building management, team, and leadership skills. That's where it is. So my clients are not starting up. They're not startups. They're working, at probably 250 to 500,000, and I help them take them to 1 million and get their life back, right? So that I think is just important for people to understand, because I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I'm a hard cookie, because it's time to grow up and grow your business. So that's one. But I'm going to leave you with this, a quote that my mom said to me: "We flatter those we scarcely know. We please the fleeting guests, but we deal many a thoughtless blow to those we love the best, including ourselves." So I want you to be just as good to you as you
Mm.
are to your business.
I have to say, just the progression of hearing your mom from the start to kind of how she progressed, it's remarkable. And I guess that's the amazing thing about life. We are always evolving. It sounds like she certainly did. Jen, I
She did.
appreciate you coming
Yeah.
on, sharing so many amazing pieces of wisdom, and just it was a great
Thank
conversation. We
you.
covered a lot. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you so much. And thank you for being on my podcast as well. So we want to make sure we have that link so that people can listen to you.
Absolutely, guys. If look, I don't know how you wouldn't have enjoyed it. I had a great time talking to Jen. I always do. Her show, it was awesome. We had a great conversation. There's so many things I want you to go back and just listen. Take your ego out of it. Really do, and say, "Am I doing these things?" Because we both admitted we toiled around for years and years, 20 some odd years. Jen said 25 years. I was, almost 20 years of doing, and then you realize, wait, life is so much more abundant. Yeah, you got to live it while you're in the moment. So make sure to share this with someone you love and care about. And until next time, remember, your mindset matters. Appreciate y'all. We'll talk soon.